Hello, 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 hello. What's going on, YouTube? This is yours truly, JD Moonin, the one, the only, the myth, the man himself. No, I'm just kidding. So I hope everybody's doing well. Tonight is Saturday. It's 9 o'clock. What is Saturday the what? It is Saturday the 26th. Today's been an interesting day. Oh, I hope everybody's had a good day. So anyways, I laid a deck out and Spirit told me to get ready to read it. So that's what I'm doing. It's a story. So it's an entire deck. It's laid out in a sequence of events, and this is what's it's going to be interesting. I think whoever this is about, they'll know that I'm talking to them. Okay. So let's start off with if you like the content on this channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell button if you want to get all of the notifications from my videos. Also, if you would like to support the channel, please go ahead and hit the PayPal link. That's it's on the description of the channel itself, or it's in the description of the video if you'd like to donate and help out. If you'd like to book a private session with me as well, you can do that as well. My information is on the Facebook page that's there. It's Moonin's Mirror on Facebook. If you go there, you can definitely book a private with me. I get a one-on-one. They're typically going to be recorded. Now, my services are generally free. So just keep that in mind. If you do book a reading, I do accept donations for that time period. I mean, it's all free. So, just don't expect it right away. If, now naturally, if there's a donation that's attached to it, of course, I'm going to get it to you much quicker. So without further ado, let's dive in. So what this is going to be about is it looks like, looks like somebody made an error with a magician. So sacrificing a magician was an error, is what I'm seeing here. So, and what this is going to be about is it looks like a Queen of Wands was defensive. Now that's because it looks like somebody received some money for a heroic deed, possibly. Let's see, that can also be taken in the reverse, that Knight of Swords. So it looks like somebody was defensive, either for money or because just the present, they're not ready, or they can't be relied upon right now in the present. So it just led to some imprudence, it looks like, and this is a what do you call it? This looks like it was a fated event for sure, is what I'm seeing from that, or it's a karmic event, basically karma, possibly. That's what that Wheel of Fortune can stand for. Looks like for a temperance age, or this whole thing. What's coming out here is there's going to be karma. So this is the actual idea. So the idea of this, what's crowning the situation, is going to be karma in the long run because of the sacrifice. Because an Earth Angel was receiving wish fulfillment, okay, but got the Three of Swords. Basically was left with, somebody's heart got broken, and this was because it looks like the Queen of Wands was defensive about a relationship, for whatever reason. Um, Now, I mean, this could also be because the actual idea of this was somebody was a master here basically. There was somebody who mastered this skill probably, or some kind of game, art, whatever, and then they got purged for it. So, I mean, you got to be careful who you sacrifice. You never know who you're sacrificing. You end up sacrificing a master, you're going to regret it. God typically doesn't take kindly to that. Masters get sent in because they're typically answers to a wish. If you ask for something and basically, you're lonely, or you're coming out of a sad time of your life or something like that. Most of us will ask for something. We'll ask God for something. And so when that gets delivered, you never try and sacrifice it, because that's just not gonna. It's not gonna be good, and you definitely don't take a bribe to do it either. All right, so it looks like we have a six of wands here. So there's a victory. So, but this victory, sorry, my eye was itching. Oh, damn, my eye's itching right now. Oh man, that was bad. So it's victory, and accolades and all that good stuff. Let's see. Okay, it looks like it might have caused some anxiety for somebody because of somebody that was Knight of Pentacles stands for somebody who's it stands for, in particular, a useful man with useful ideas, right? So it looks like maybe the Six of Wands is for an ecclesiastic, because that can also stand for an ecclesiastic. That Nine of Swords there. There's some alternative meanings here to that card. They kind of give us a little bit more of a deep dive into it. Let's see. Is that Nine of Swords, right? Yeah. So it looks like this could be considered. I think this is probably going to be a bad omen. So it looks like maybe somebody received a message or something like that about a bad omen because of a useful man with useful ideas, possibly, or because somebody was taking too long. Okay, so it looks like there might have been a bad omen, and it's looking like it was because somebody was taking too long, and so they thought that possibly that had to that this was dishonesty, that this King of Cups might have been being dishonest, and yeah, okay. So somebody got a bad omen because of a useful man with useful discoveries. It looks like they thought that somebody was being dishonest about their gifts, possibly, is what I'm getting from that. Because I mean, the King of Cups is somebody who's typically it's a very balanced person. And they're they typically have gifts of sight and stuff like that, and they're psychic in many respects. I mean, there's many different ways that somebody's psychic, right? Like, there's not just like one way fits all to be a psychic. there's many different type of psychic abilities. Um, and so I don't know. I find it weird that somebody would think that somebody was being dishonest about, I guess, maybe what they've been through in the past. I think that's what this was about. I think that you know that somebody came in out of nowhere and everybody's like, oh, that dude's lying, whatever. I'm here to tell you he wasn't. So looks like up here, what's crowning this whole thing is going to be this eight of swords, and that's going to be that can either that's a scandal spread in somebody's respect. Now this is called, okay, here we go. Yeah, so somebody thought somebody was being dishonest because of a scandal that was spread in their respect, which then gets them left out in the cold. Because of a sham fight, and somebody, basically lying about something. Somebody just because somebody was being dishonest. There's somebody getting away with something in the near future, right? So, but this is going to result in somebody having a victory. So I find that kind of funny because this was about not believing somebody's accolades, and somebody's going to find out that the accolades were correct, that this person really did go through all this and that you were being a jackass. I find that very interesting. So now the Celestial Weaver. So this is a card that's not normally in the deck, in the tarot deck. So I gotta find the little book so I can read that card to you guys. It's like this additional card of power. Give me 1 second here. Where the hell did I put the damn book? No, that's not it. Nope. Oh, dirt. Okay. All right, I found it. It's right in front of my face. Okay, so basically what I'm getting from this is, it's basically, it says, here is a power card for you today. This is a message for you to fully allow to sink in. Weave the fabric of your reality through your thoughts, intentions, actions. Every thread you weave has ripple effect in the universe. Be mindful of your thoughts and intentions. They are what shall create a beautiful tapestry of life. You are part of a greater cosmic dance. Your existence is meaningful and interconnected with all that is, all part of the unifying field of consciousness. You are the weaver of your destiny, and with each movement you make, weave love, kindness, and harmony into the world around you. Remember, it's natural for you. So, yeah, that's nice. Basically, it's a power card saying that, I guess wherever it comes in, I guess maybe that's a major trump card. You're coming in and you're changing what's going on in your reality. That's what it looks like. So it looks like, whatever happened here, somebody came in and they're changing their reality, and they're seeing this more as I guess they're changing their perspective maybe in a sense. And so it's more of like I don't know, maybe a celebration, I guess you could say, or, friendship. Let's see. So it looks like whatever this is going on here. Okay, so you have this power card that comes in. There's a change in somebody's destiny here, whoever this magician is that we're talking about. And then there's an advancement for a military man. Okay, what that means is just somebody who's like in the midst of a battle. And battle can be in many senses. It doesn't necessarily have to be physical. And the outcome is going to be, basically somebody becoming a leader. It's basically it's all eyes on them. And they're gonna come out on top in that deal. Their accolades make them a leader. Okay, they're going to be viewed. They're already viewed in a very good light, and so it's going to be very hard to diminish or basically destroy the reputation of this person. Primarily because they're a master. It's hard to destroy those reputations. They can deal with a lot. All right, so here's another event that possibly unfolded, or that unfolded, I guess, in this new relationship that was just getting started. So we have the devil. Okay, now the devil is. It can be many things. It looks like it's an ace of pentacles, so it's some kind of offer. Like maybe somebody was bound to this, or it was predetermined that somebody's going to get this ace of pentacles. However, it looks like they might be, it might be causing them a lot of stress, or somebody, was offered an ace of pentacles to drop a burden of some kind, whatever that burden may be. And so it looks like, this is what's, so it makes somebody leave, somebody bounces. And so this causes a, pretty great misery, or because somebody doesn't want to drop a load from the past, which is very, and so they're still bound to something in the past. And so they're like, oh, well, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to deal with this or whatever, and so then they say this, and then it causes somebody over here to react. Okay. Well, then that person turns into the Queen of Swords. Well, anybody who doesn't know anything about a Queen of Swords, this is a Libra. Okay. But it's also somebody who stands their ground. They're not going to put up with anybody's shit. And rightfully so. I mean, I'm a Libra. I don't put up with nobody's shit, and I will call you out for it. And I'm non-biased when I judge. I don't judge somebody from my biases. Why would I judge? Why would I do that? Why? I mean, how can I judge somebody if I've got bias? If I've got bias in a situation, then I have no right to judge. It's opinion at that point. A judge has to be non-biased. So when it comes to relationships, I'm very non-biased. I tend to accept everything when it comes to relationship. Accept people of all kinds, because that's how people are. People are all kinds of different ways. But I will try and connect based on my own experience, because I've been through a lot in relationships. And in most cases, I can relate to somebody who's going through some kind of emotional pain. I've been through almost all of it. Anything you can dream of, I've probably been through it, except for anything that has to do with children primarily. And that being said, it's naturally, if you're empathetic towards people, you try and relate to them based on your experience. You put that into play. That's not somebody projecting. Okay, let me be very clear. When somebody's relating to you, they are not projecting onto you. They are relating to you. There's a difference. Anyways, so because of these things, this ends up causing, what this is this event, okay, which is the Ace of Pentacles. But this event is predetermined, and for this reason is not evil. Okay, so somebody gets very defensive and antagonistic with a Libra, it looks like, and then they alienate them in the near future. They didn't know that this was this is the Ace of Pentacles. Okay, the person that you're alienating. That's your Ace of Pentacles. And your twin flame, if you believe in that. So now, but what this is going to do is it's going to end a cycle. Okay, it's going to end a cycle, and then it looks like there's going to be an offer. The outcome is one of two things. Basically a Knight of Cups, which is somebody coming in, offering somebody, the whatever, some kind of good offer. It also stands for a friend that could be showing up with unexpected money towards the querent. Towards the querent. Okay, I think it's how they say it, right? Towards the querent. So, that definitely could be going on. Anyways, so let's continue. Let's continue on. Kind of like these full deck reads. This is really puts a lot of things in perspective for you, and you'd be amazed because what was really crazy was the reason why I was called to read this was because the way this deck is laid out, okay, it's laid out almost identically. Not once, not twice, this is a third time. And that's when I was like, all right, you want me to do it? You want me to do a video on this? Is like, Spirit's like, yes, I do. I was like, okay. All right, so now what's interesting is what I'm seeing here is you have the star. Okay, so this is what this is telling me is there's somebody who's famous. So, or somebody who's turned a lot of heads, in the past or something like that. This person is very strong, very powerful. Okay, and they are covered in a 10 of swords. Now, that's because of a 2 of cups, a relationship. There was a swift change in this relationship out of nowhere. But this tower is going to result in justice for the emperor. Okay? So, what you got to keep in mind here is that everything is in divine timing. And if somebody tells you they're sent by God, you need to go in and you need to find out if they're sent by God or not. I'm going to tell you that right now, because if you try and sacrifice that person, that's the dumbest thing you could ever do. You need to heed the message when you're giving it. Okay? You're not untouchable. I don't care who you are. And if you think you are, that's your first downfall. Somebody ever comes to you and they say they have a message from God, or they say they're sent by God, you better listen to that person, because you're going to go off and you're going to fuck up, and you don't want that kind of karma. Okay, let me tell you something. I have been put in people's lives many, many times because I'm used as karma, and a lot of times what will happen is the way that you treat me will determine how you're going to come out when the situation's over. If you treat me well and you're good to me and things like that, typically you will be given a lot of things. But if you shun me, you treat me bad, you laugh at me, make fun of me, you abuse me, take advantage of me like my ex did, the karma is not very fun. Okay? I can just let me just tell you that from experience, as I've watched it literally play out in front of somebody who tried to curse me once, okay? And then they went through 2 years of the worst luck I've ever seen them go through. And I had the most amazing win streak, at that time. Anyways, so in the near future, there's a 3 of Wands. Somebody's going to want to work with somebody. Okay? And it's because, the fortitude, the power that this person has, right? Because this is how everybody views them. They view them as the Hierophant. Because it's what they are. Okay? Hierophant, I don't know if you know what that is. That's a spiritual leader. That's typically a priest of some kind. So the actual idea of this is going to be the 9 of Pentacles. This is going to be, a good business. It's going to be great. And so what's going to happen is, because all of this is going to go down, okay, people find out that there's strength in marriage. There is. There's nothing wrong with commitment, and I don't know why people think that there is today. You gain nothing doing it on your own. Okay? You don't get any accolades for doing it on your own. Okay? It doesn't make you look like a better person. Matter of fact, to me, it makes you look like you're shooting yourself in the foot. Because for whatever reason today, I feel like people today, they believe that relationships are burdens. No, you have made them burdens. Okay? A relationship is not supposed to be a burden. I watched my mom and my dad. They've been married for 30 years. I could only dream of that. I remember when I was young, the only thing I wanted to marry my high school sweetheart. And that didn't happen because her parents ripped us apart. Trying to file statutory rape charges on me when I was 17 years old. And their daughter was 15. Okay? That was my first experience in love. That was my first one. So I was already off on a shitty foot when it comes to love. And so it's just, I've seen nothing but the turmoils of love. Later on I figured out that was because I'm going to be helping people in their love lives. That's what I do. I've saved marriages. Okay? I'm a great marriage counselor. I'm just a great counselor for relationships because I'm not biased. I see both sides. I see both parties' problems. I see both parties' arguments. And I can look at them both in the face and say, you're both being childish. Most importantly, I can call somebody out when they're having an ego trip. You know, I've gotten rid of my ego a long time ago. People think I'm arrogant and this, that, and the other thing. And it's because I only argue from a stance of knowing. I never argue from a place of opinion. You know, it's because I'm vain in that respect, okay? One of the things I can't hate is I can't stand looking stupid, okay? That's one of the things I cannot stand. And so if I only have an opinion on a matter, I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to debate it. I'm not going to do anything. I'll have a discussion with you about it. And I'll say, oh, well, I believe this, maybe that. But I will not argue with you about it. And I will not debate you about it because I don't have enough information. That being said, I'm very intuitive and I just know things. Okay? I just remember things and I know things. And you can't hide anything from me. I will find out. Anyways, I mean that's the thing about relationships, is that people have turned them into a burden. They're not supposed to be a burden. They're supposed to be your teammate. That's how that's supposed to be. And that doesn't mean that you both have to work on the same thing. That most partners do that because two people working on one thing together makes a much stronger foundation than one person working on one thing and another person working on another. But you can definitely have that. You can have two people doing their thing. And you can combine those things. Like you look at, Chosen 144 and his wife. He does readings and all this other stuff. And she's this excellent, energy healer. You can combine the two businesses. You can have one that does, mystical, magical practices and reads tarot as a shaman. And you can have the other one as a Reiki healer and a yogi. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with that. That is a perfectly round business. It doesn't make you lesser to combine your services or combine your skills with another person. As a matter of fact, that's how breakthroughs happen. That's how changes happen. It's this idea in the United States where we breed selfishness in this country. I don't know why. People over here are inherently selfish compared to the rest of the world. And we make fun of people who still live with family up until their 20s or 30s or whatever, which is absolutely asinine, okay? Because you look at the rest of the world, it's perfectly normal for people to live together until 20s or 30s with their parents until they get married. Matter of fact, that's the smart thing to do. You know why? You save a bunch of money. In my case, it wasn't. I ended up spending a bunch of money because my grandmother got sick. I had to take care of it. I don't regret any of that. I would do it again. I loved that woman. She was my best friend. All right, so now we have a 7 of Cups. So it looks like somebody has some options here. But she's looking at these options. She's juggling them. She's weighing them out. She's trying to figure out what she's going to do here. This is Queen of Cups. This is her right here. She's in the 7 of Cups. And now she could also be illusioned, daydreaming, But from what I can see, I think that it's more or less she's trying to figure out what the best option is going to be, is what I'm seeing here. And that's crossed by what looks like an intuitive message. An intuitive message about a regret, about leaving the hermit, about backstabbing him, because that's what it is. Okay? You don't just come into somebody's life and then just poof, just out of it because you go, oh shit, I'm not ready for this. Well, why did you go around in the first place? If you're not ready for it, don't show up. It's that simple. Look, if you want to continue living a life not doing your divine purpose, then go ahead. Okay? But when you say, Spirit, I'm ready to do my divine purpose and blah, 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 you're tired of being trapped, you're tired of something not working out for you right, and this, that, and the other thing, all different things going on. Then when your gift comes in, you don't shun it. You know what I'm saying? This is the second time I've experienced that. Very, very weird. I don't get it. I know who I am. I'm open and honest about who I am. Now, given on the first one where I didn't know, I woke up to who I was at that time. And then I later found out that I was the gift. And I know what I bring to the table. You know what I'm saying? I'm a jack of all trades. I can fix almost anything. Anything. And I'm sure you give me long enough, I can fix anything. On top of that, I've got an extremely high IQ. How do you think I see patterns so well? I could tell somebody's bullshit within the first rotation. Okay? At the moment I see half a cycle, I'm like, oh, no, we're done with that. Not putting up with that. Because I see the bullshit, That's what makes somebody have a high IQ, is their ability to recognize patterns. I wonder why that is. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that a high IQ is based on pattern recognition? I wonder if that's maybe because everything in the universe is a friggin' cycle. It's a pattern. Anyways. So there's an intuitive message, about a regret. A regret about committing treason in the recent past and sacrificing King of Pentacles. Or getting rid of a hermit, right? Sacrificing a hermit for a King of Pentacles. You never want to sacrifice somebody for money, okay? I'm going to tell you that right now. Especially not an Earth Angel. You don't sacrifice an Earth Angel for money, okay? But this situation, whatever the situation was, so there's an intuitive message here about a regret to a hermit about sacrificing King of Pentacles or being sacrificed by a King of Pentacles, okay? So you got to, So there was an offer received by this Queen of Cups, okay? To, basically go get some advice, I guess. Or go inside. Okay, that's basically what's going on here. Somebody needs to retreat. Somebody needs to retreat and go speak with Spirit because you're about to get a gift. Okay? That's the outcome here. You got something coming in and you're not even looking at it. You were given a gift and you don't even see it. You need to open your eyes. You need to go ask for some counsel. Okay? Because the gift ain't going to stay around very long. I can tell you that right now. If anybody's like me, okay, and they get gifted to somebody, I'm going to tell you right now, I look at situations like that, and it's like, I'm my own damn gift, all right? And so, I ain't going to sit around and play games with you. All right. So, it looks like judgment was called. Judgment was called. What I'm seeing here is it's basically it was to reveal something to the Empress. Okay? Judgment was called on somebody's abundance. Now you got to keep that in mind. So somebody's abundance has judgment called on it. Or it's looking like to me, actually let me rephrase this. A Ten of Pentacles is going to be judgment. Will be, let's see. So the outcome, so it looks like there's an outcome. So the outcome of this situation, the outcome of this Ten of Pentacles, okay, this business, whatever it, is coming. Okay, whatever. There's something coming in the near future. Okay, and let's just say somebody's going to be getting quite a bit of money. That's going to be a business. Okay, that's that's going to be everything, house, whole nine. And this is going to be a judgment. This is going to be basically the outcome. It's going to be an outcome. Okay, the outcome of the whole situation. It's going to end up being the Sun. Okay, the Sun's a great card. Material wealth, family, children, happiness. I mean, who doesn't want that, right? But now, this is crossed, though, however. This abundance is crossed by the Empress. So it's crossed by truth. Okay? And so that's the problem here. So judgment's called on somebody's abundance because of truth. Because the truth is they were holding on to something that's over. Somebody's holding on to something that ended forever ago. Okay? Sitting here, stuck in this Five of Swords here, stuck in a in loss. Just thinking about losses. Or looks like they had to end something with possibly somebody they work with. Or they ended something, because of losses. Or because of losing somebody they used to work with, or they were going to work with, which was the Ten of Pentacles and, King of Swords. That's how everybody views the Ten of Pentacles. It's the King of Swords. Doctor, lawyer, senator, possibly. And that's going to lead to, good memories, or memories in the past of providence, possibly, or that's going to put somebody on the warpath. Yep, somebody gets judged. Okay, here we go. So it looks like this. You got a King of Swords. Everybody sees this Ten of Pentacles as a King of Swords. This person is under judgment. Or this person has a renewal. Because they reveal the truth. They get placed under judgment because they reveal the truth about holding on to something in the past, making them lose a partner they can work with, it looks like. Making them lose a young man in business who has relations with the Corn. Right here. So, because they're still clinging to the past, they're losing, somebody in business who has relations to them, basically. That's what this is saying. And it's all because somebody's still clinging to the past. Won't let it go. You gotta let it go, man. Gotta let the past go. Gotta let the past go. We all get scared of being in relationships. We all get afraid of being hurt. But not everybody's going to hurt you. Take it from me, man. I spent 7 years by myself, okay? And I didn't date anybody. When I say alone, I mean alone. Me and God, that was it. I lived with my grandmother. I took care of her, okay? If I felt like I needed to take care of somebody, I took care of my grandma. I love my grandma. Okay? And I went through, some of the biggest growth of my life during that time period. I became the most successful I'd ever been. On top of that, I was very secure in myself. And let me tell you, my ex had to play the long motherfucking game, dude, to get me to lose my confidence. Okay, she did though. I don't know how she did it, but she did eventually. But it took. She was there with a chisel, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, beating that thing with a little rubber mallet. Because I am not easy to... I am... Not only am I stubborn, I have a lot of mental fortitude. Okay, so I mean, you put those two together, it's like a beautiful woman that's hot. You know, that's a deadly combo. You get somebody who's stubborn and they have mental fortitude. Good luck. It's gonna be like it's like beating your head against a wall. All right, so let's see So this is the event that we're looking at now. This is where we're at today. This is what's coming in the near future, probably, more than likely. So what we have here is it looks like there's going to be an opportunity that's going to be, with a high priestess. And it looks like looks like some kind of offer, okay? Offer for relationship. Oh, I forgot I got it inverted. So, looks like the lovers is coming about. Looks like there's going to be an opportunity for a relationship. Now, this is going to be crossed by a page of wands, or this could be just because this is a man of family. Okay, so the page of wands, well, actually, so it's in the reverse. It can be taken in the reverse. Let's see. Before I say anything definitively. Okay, so... Now, this Ace of Wands can be taken as calamities of all kinds, for a high priestess, is bad news. Because occult forces, possibly, or because of hidden enemies. Or because at the new moon there's a resurrection. The phoenix rising. All right, let's see what that is. So transformative. So this is like the Uber Death card. Okay, this is a transformation card. It's a very special card you picked up today. So pay attention, because it is a blessing and a very strong message. No matter how difficult or challenging life may be, you have the strength to rise from the ashes and be born anew. This is your time to liberate into renewal. Just as the phoenix changes from the flames, you can overcome what may have been holding you down and soar to new heights. Endings are never permanent. Every ending is a new beginning. Strength and beauty are on your side. You are in the process of liberation. In many ways, you're already there. That's nice. So in the recent past, somebody basically had a resurrection. They had a rebirth, if you will. Turned into the Queen of Pentacles. Now, the Queen of Pentacles, all it signifies is somebody who's an earth sign, possibly. But somebody who's very kind, nurturing, and giving. This is one of the best queens in the deck. You definitely want that queen on your side, for sure. That's like mama energy. You know what I'm saying? Then you got the Eight of Wands. Okay? The Eight of Wands, in the near future, there's things are going to be moving quickly. Or there's going to be a message. A message possibly from a lover for somebody in the near future. Now this person is seen as, it looks like this person might be seen as a Page of Pentacles. Page of Pentacles is a good card. Or that's what, what this message could be about. Looks like maybe there's going to be calamities of all kinds because, I don't know, a relationship. Because a lover brings a message, possibly. Huh. Or somebody gets news that somebody from their past is, it could be digging through their secrets for one, or for two, has authority. The last thing you want to do, is get turned upside down doing something stupid to somebody who's got more authority than you. That sucks. You don't want to get caught up doing that. That's good. That's a rough day. That's what that is. So, anyways, I thought this was a very interesting, deck story. That's the whole story as it comes out. I like to read this way. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, seen these kind of readings this way. But I do a lot of full deck readings. They're very interesting. You get to kind of see the whole cycle as it plays out, and it's real cool to try and piece it together too, because you can see the events in almost as though they're in sequence. So, anyways, so right now somebody's got somebody digging through their secrets. Just so whoever's out there, and then for people who try and come after me or whatever, if you don't think I'm going to find out, you're stupid. Okay? I will find out. And you will be judged for it. Just keep that in mind. Anyways, I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.